The president was quoted in the newspaper yesterday that he's worried about the youth unemployment. The truth of the matter is that the Nigerian elites are not sincere. If they are sincere, anybody, any decent person should be horrified. Tell me who is, I don't know, I'm challenging the commissioner. Your children, are they in school in Nigeria?
Of course.
Are they school in Nigeria?
Of course, they're school in Nigeria.
Where? Public or private? No. Because that is a template. Because if for the past 3 months,
I have very young children.
Okay, you have very young children. If for the past 3 months the university system are paralyzed and nobody is doing anything, why? Because if you are somebody Nigerian today, your children will either be schooling in Ghana, South Africa, Korea, and things like that.
Accept that this rot has been there for a long time.
Yes.
You see, people make it look like it is only Jonathan's government.
It's not Jonathan.
That this whole system of decay has started. This decay has been there. You see, it has been there, and we are trying to right the wrongs of the past. You must understand one thing.
With the Banana Republic style.
You see, you are not just positive at all. You are not seeing any positive sides.
You have
both condemned APC, PDP.
He's a socialist.
Yeah, he's a socialist. Yes, but you should try and look and sift the wheat from the shaft. No, you should try and sift the wheat from the shaft.
Okay. He's a socialist.
We are not yet there.
Even though socialism is dying in the world, Russia has broken up. China is now the greatest capitalist society in the world.
Broke off.
Okay, would you accept that our situation in power, for example, is going to improve with the bold step that the president made in kind of the privatization of PHN? Unbundling them.
Yes.
He spoke about that before you came.
Oh, he spoke about that.
Yes.
Do you accept that there is going to be because we all
do I accept that?
Yes.
I do not.
Do you know how many people will tell me that even the generator manufacturers, they will settle PHN staffs to make sure that there is no light. Okay. There are people that sell diesel that are settled PHN staffs to make sure that there is no light, to continue selling generators, to continue selling their diesel.
And they play a good role in the government.
Okay.
So you can imagine. So by the time you now privatize it, you see when the government is saying, look, we are going to privatize some certain institutions, it's because they have seen that the public officers have failed. Look at the communications in terms of mobile communications. Once it was privatized, today the Akararuma uses GSM. Who doesn't have GSM?
So
even the primary school boys these days have GSM.
How many lines do you have?
At what exorbitant?
I have just 2.
But like, I could see.
Sorry, can I ask you a question here? Bello Kabir on Twitter just said that it is obvious that the National Assembly members will not support the report of the conference committee because it will affect them. Not.
It's a usurpation of their powers. When you have this conference committee, where it depends on if it's a national conference on its own, they're doing what the National Assembly ought to do. They're usurping the powers and functions of the National Assembly.
But Mr. Dutola, at the time of Obasanjo, we didn't have this kind of complaint. And the National Conference went on without the National Assembly complaining that its powers were being usurped.
That is, if the National Assembly passes the bill to set up a constraint assembly, they can vote work pari passu.
Was that passed during the time of Obasanjo?
I can't recall.
They did not pass any.
But what
they did not complain.
What I'm saying is that the Niger Delta man, the commissioner, with due respect, has spoken the mind of the people from Niger Delta. They have also said it. If you will not allow Mr. President, we will break off. From the innuendos I can get from his own speech too, he's also on that line. Mr. President, I want to believe he's a good chess player. Look at it. Afenifere belongs to Southwest. They've been quiet all along. No action. Now, chairman of the committee, who should we pick? Pick somebody from Southwest who will polarize the polity in the Southwest. Picked Okuromu. who I want to believe is the voice of Afenifere. Now there is this debate in Southwest. We are going to partake, we are not going to partake. He has crushed that. The northern oligarchy, you people say we want to take our power back. With this national dialogue, every other ethnic group wants the dialogue. So it is all a means to an end. Either PDP or new PDP, silence. Habba. We were all talking about the crisis in your party, and suddenly Mr. President just woke up. We will set up advisory committee on national dialogue. When did the thought commence? When and how did it arise? The Senate president too began singing the same song. Haba. We don't need an Ifa priest or a prophet. Something is looming somewhere.
You smell a
I
rat.
smell a big fat rat. Not even a rat now, maybe a dead dog.
Okay, well, I've got another tweet. Quite a few of them are coming in, and this one is for Kenny. He says it's from Stubber Ash. He's saying,
Again,
all the committees set up by GEJ government, what happened to the report? So this national dialogue will most likely go the same way. And when you talk about all the other committees, you're thinking of Oransaye and Nuhu Ribadu report on the oil industry. Yes. Nothing happened to them. And a number of other things that's being investigated, committees coming up with reports, and nothing has happened. Is this going to be one that we should expect that it will drag for the next 6 to 9 months and then fizzle away?
No, but I think the Orange Committee report was subjected to a debate by the Federal Executive Council. If you remember, it was presented, and it was suggested that about 46 parastatals should either merge or should be completely thrown out. And I don't want to believe that nothing has happened, but I don't want to believe that Oransaye's report will be thrown out completely. But Oransaye's report is not a report that you can just implement immediately, if you ask me. There are so many sensitive aspects of it. For example, EFCC and ICPC. By the time he actually does what Oransaye has said he should do, Nigerians will also read meanings to those his actions. They will say he's trying to hide his corrupt officials in his government, or even he's trying to hide things. He's trying to make it impossible for the EFCC to become as effective as it used to be. I'm using that example.
That same way,
yes.
If the Constitution review becomes, should it be national conference or sovereign national conference? And for that reason, let's keep talking about the nomenclature.
The thing is, there's a basic fundamental difference. When I set up a committee, I'm not bounded to accept hook, line, and sinker everything the committee has advised me to do. But you see, why this national dialogue is going to be key? It's going to be key because Nigerians have been agitating for this all through 1979 up until date. And we have all agreed in this studio that the constitution we have is not from the people, even though it says we the people. It was a military-imposed constitution, horribly imposed because Abdusalami Abubakar wanted to leave office. And the truth about it is, by the time we have dialogue, this might be the only opportunity we might have to actually carry out a holistic amendment, which would definitely have to be done by the National Assembly. All the amendments have been done before. You must have to take majority of the state houses of assembly support that amendment. And by the time it gets to the National Assembly passes it into law, and the president would sign it. Even if he doesn't sign, they'll veto. They have power of veto after 30 days.
Let me